All right, let's get to it. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? So I'm here today with my wife, Rolanda, and my name is Gary, and we're from Back to Eden Garden, and this is our
growing conversations.
our show doing growing conversations.
Yes, we're growing conversations today.
I was hoping to get some people on here to start asking questions from the last event that we had.
But your wife took the time to ask questions to some of her fellow gardeners, and I have a list of questions that we want to address.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So we're in Las Vegas, of course, everybody knows, and we are in the desert. And today is the first day of December
21st.
which is, yes, our winter. So
Yep.
we're going into our official winter, even though it's what would you say the temperature is today?
I think it's 45, something
Yeah.
45 and 50.
It's sunny outside.
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
Very
it's
beautiful.
here in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Las Vegas today. So it's a nice, warm climate today, and that things are still growing here. Some things are dying. A lot of things are dying. But the question is, what's the easiest plant to grow in the desert, like Las Vegas, especially this time of the year?
How about succulents and cacti?
Yeah.
Because of their, how can I say, their ability to be able to stand hostile climates, in the summer and winter, you don't have to care for them a whole lot unless there's cactus with fruiting plants. And I think they kind of take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They like a certain type of acidic soil, but cactus virtually can grow just about anywhere. You can transplant them into a pot and they'll grow, as we done out front of our house. Yeah. So that's the easiest plant to handle because you really don't have to touch them that much. Be careful about touching some cactus plants. I've learned from experience. I became a pincushion, right?
All the time.
All the time. I keep saying I'm not going to touch it. They look smooth.
Yeah.
They look like, oh yeah, you can just touch that succulent cacti and just kind of just rub on it. Wrong though. Don't do that. We would urge you, don't touch cactus without gloves and more gloves.
And they will leave you a gift of nice little tiny splinters. But the good thing about the cacti that he's talking about is that there are so many different edible versions. And right now we have the nopales, and they are wonderful. They're excellent. They have so many beneficial benefits to them.
Mm-hmm.
So the cactus and the cacti, I like growing them because that, again, it's a food, it's medicinal, and we look for in our garden, our Back to Eat garden. To me, everything for me that I see it as a potential food, medicine, something that we can use even if it's not medicinal, whether it's for fertilizer to help the other crops, cover crops, but they should have a purpose. Just like we have a purpose, our plants have purpose.
They do.
So
Indeed.
The cactus, people frown on Las Vegas, and no, this is just not all about the glim. It's about the plants too. That's our growing conversations. It's all about the plants.
Always about
the plants. So we're growing things that people said that we couldn't grow here, but the cactus is definitely one of our favorites. And my husband has experienced a couple of dishes that I've made with the nopales, and
delicious.
They're wonderful. And then also I use them for juicing too. There's lots of things, and we'll get into that on our other channels, the Epicurean and the Herbalist, as well as
Genesis to Revelations Epic Exploration is our new channel.
Yes,
that we're working on currently.
Right. And our Back to Eden. So one thing I want to stop and pause to tell you, we have 5,000 views, but we're asking you to subscribe.
Please.
Subscribe.
And push that like button.
And the like button. Do that for us. We really want this to be something that's here and growing in our community and with all of our channels, but we need your help. So please make sure you subscribe and hit the like button.
And your encouragement.
Yes.
Encourage us
Yes.
by hitting that subscribe button, that like button.
Yes.
Okay, more questions.
What's the easiest winter vegetable for me and you? What do you think the easiest winter vegetable this time of the year to sustain and actually give us something?
I would think in the brassicas family, kale, spinach, collards, romaine lettuce, bok choy, any of those type of cabbage, any of those type of vegetables you can grow in the winter and they will do well. Here in Las Vegas, we get temperatures every once in a while go below 32, but not often. but it does get down there freezing. So we also have our vegetables in a hoop house, and they're doing quite well.
Well, he's saying that, but then this kind of follows into the next question because um, all of my friends that are actually just totally wanting to do the same thing, but they're telling me, and my husband has a method. And that question is, how do you keep your soil healthy?
Well, there's a number of avenues you can take, but one of them that I just have been blessed to know about is been developed by Young Sung Chow in Korea, South Korea, I believe it is, and it's called JLF, or Jadam liquid fertilizing, and there's also JMS, Jadam microbial fertilizing, and also the one with the sulfur, Jadam sulfur fertilizer, JSF. And what that system entails is simply just getting, whether it's your grass clippings, your plants that are left over from maybe your raised garden beds or containers, or even just from the ground that you're just ready to take out. You can use a 5-gallon bucket or a 55-gallon drum and use dechlorinated water. So what my wife and I have done to get the water that we need specifically for Jadam liquid fertilizer is to set a 5-gallon bucket out, and I got 6 of them. Fill it with water so that the carbon, not the carbon, but the chlorine and fluoride can off gas from the water. It takes about 24 hours. And then you can use that. You can put your greens in, or you can go to the store and get some compost from your local grocery store. You may have to say those word compost, because you walk in there and your produce department say, "Can I have your old vegetables?" And they're gonna look at you like, "What?" So you have to use the word compost, because that's how they get rid of, probably write things off. You know, how they didn't use some vegetables, and some of these vegetables they give you in a box are great. I mean, I got compost and the onions were in perfect condition. So you can use this to make your Jadam liquid fertilizer. So you put that in your 5-gallon pail, maybe about a third of the way up, pour the water in, get some leaf mold. Now, this is a very important ingredient. You have to have leaf mold. The reason why you have to have leaf mold to make Jadam liquid fertilizer, because it's the mycelium in the leaf mold that's going to break down and cause decomposition of the fruits and vegetables that you put in the container or your drum. And that's going to be ready to use about at least 10 to 14 days after you start the process. But it's best to do it in a heated environment, because if you try to make JLS or Jadam liquid fertilizer in the winter, it's going to be a very slow process and breaking down. So I'll leave a link below. I think I've already have in the description notes. You can see a link to Garden Like a Viking and Young Sung Chow. So check out those description links that we left below. And so that will tell you the whole explanation about how the beneficial is using a natural fertilizer, that you don't have to use chemicals. Now, I know organic fertilizer, people do choose to use those. You know, they like their bone meal and the blood meal, because I've used them in the past. We've used them.
Yeah.
But the thing is about using granulated fertilizer, organic or not, is they take a while to become available in the soil, for the soil to break that down, the enzymes and sugar, to make it available to the roots of the plants. So you want to start off with Jadam liquid fertilizer, because it's going to go immediately into the soil around the root zone, and it's going to be uptaken in the plants. And you can also make Jadam liquid fertilizer foliar too, you know, to do the foliage of the leaves. So that's about how I enrich our soil, including using worms. You might, and by the way, the Jadam liquid fertilizer has all the calcium, magnesium. It has all the necessary components to cause your soil to be built up.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we select that method of gardening in our Back to Eden garden.
That's basically his forte, but I kind of come along as the companion helper.
And she's a big help.
But with my husband, with Gary doing this year, I've noticed, and already he started to feed all of our fruit trees, and that's something we've never done before this time of the year. So putting down what he was saying, the grass clippings and all of these things, putting these layers in place, because you know what I've realized, and I have, if you're not doing anything in the winter, don't think you're going to do it in the spring, because it doesn't happen. You know, for the longest, because we've been at this for quite some time, and we couldn't figure out, you know, we're waiting until spring and for the clock and the stores to say, hey, we're going to put some plants in the nursery. We're going to go to Stars, Moon Valley, whatever you have.
Mhm.
And we're waiting for them to put these new starter plants in. Guess what, everyone? You can't wait.
You
You cannot wait.
You cannot wait.
The season is so short. We're
Mhm.
in the desert. But by the time the wind goes and everything gets settled where you're thinking that it looks like spring,
Mhm.
you may have and then you're starting your plants from start, and they're just babies because you just went and got these little tiny plants and you didn't do any preparation. And soil is always first. You didn't prepare your soil. So now you're scrapping and you have all these big plastic bags of soil. You're trying to figure out which one has the right nutrients. Guess what? None of them do, basically.
They
I don't care what so the best thing is to making your own soil. And that's what he's been doing. And we've been getting hits on that. The next question that was going to be asked was, and this is really my forte, but I want him to answer that first, is the winter herbs. What is a good winter herb to grow in Las Vegas?
Sage, thyme, chives, sorrel, or oregano, mint, the lavender. Those type of herbs are easy to grow here in the wintertime in our climate.
Right.
Mhm.
And the thing is, they are perennials, but for anyone that's living in Las Vegas like we have, I'm a native all my life, the perennials usually die back and then they'll return, right? That's
Right.
what a perennial.
That's right.
But guess what? So this is rosemary. I have lemongrass in here, which should be overwintering, and it will probably go dormant now in a little bit now. But the sage is growing fine. The oregano is going fine. We have those in the our little plastic high tunnels.
Mhm.
But the rosemary is out no matter what. The sage is out, and I have it in different garden beds. They don't die down like that. Usually they last for the whole winter. And that's, excuse me, the good thing about Las Vegas is because we do have such a strong sunlight force when it comes through.
We do.
Most of these things can survive. And so you're going to have herbs all year long. And the advantage of that is that you get nutrients and micronutrients that you can utilize with fresh stuff all day, every day.
Long.
So even though I have lots of dried herbs, I love the fact
does.
that I can go and get a fresh cup of tea, and it doesn't have to be fancy. And this doesn't limit it just to herbs. This is also trees. If you have pine trees, the pine needles, depending on what you have, those are all good, full of vitamins and vitamin C. So we have to take advantage of what we have. Sometimes it's not even necessary for you to buy anything. You need to do an herbal walk right on your property, because you probably have some. If you're not spraying chemicals or anything like that, and you're using organic methods, then you know what, you probably have more medicinal medicine than you ever even thought of. So it's like, get out the box. That's why we're having these conversations, because a lot of us have a lot more, than we even realize that. And of course, the sunlight is out there, which is good for you, grounding. So all of it works together. So that's what I like.
Okay.
Yeah. You have anything else you want to add to this?
Well, I was kind of want to take them out there.
I think that's next time.
Next time, what we'll do a live inside the hoop house.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. See if we can get a chair or something out there, which I don't think we can. We'll be sitting on the edge of the raised garden bed.
This is growing conversation. So we're growing the conversation every time we're going to come back to you. We're going to be growing the conversations with more and more.
Hey, Angel Peace from British Columbia. How you doing? Thanks for coming in.
British Columbia.
British Columbia. All right. Thank you. Thank you for
seeing you.
Yeah, good seeing you again.
Yes.
Or for the first time. I'm a little nervous and excited at the same time.
Yeah, he's excited and a little nervous, but we're still here, and we are going to have growing conversations, because what we want to do is tell people in Las Vegas there's a lot more than what you see. And believe me, gardening in the desert may be something that you've never considered, but you should consider it. I mean, you can garden anywhere, whether you're using pots, whether you're using raised beds or in the ground. And in the winter, we have a little bit of everything. We have raised beds, we do have pots, and we do have things that's in the ground. And in every one of the areas right now, there is something that's flourishing. So as Gary was saying, on our next round, he's going to give you a little tour for the wintertime to kind of, maybe we'll take you into the high tunnels and we can do our live talk from there. But it's really a growing, just a growing conversation every day, because every day we find something new. I have ashwagandha growing, and I mentioned that in the last video. I just can't bring myself to pull it out because it's been so beautiful. And this is now year 4. And I have many transplants that I've taken. I've taken transplants from it, and that's been successful. So it's in other places in the garden and over the yard. And then I've also have some that's been potted from seed, from the little red berries, and it's been successful. But these things grow in Las Vegas too. So sometimes we don't think about that. You can grow medicinal herbs right here in Las Vegas.
Yes, you can.
Right here in Las Vegas, where there's lots of hotels and so-called nothing but gambling. There's people living a life that are homesteading. We're urban homesteading.
We are.
We want to be on a homestead off the grid in later times, but we hope that we're going to be doing something else. One of our viewers right now, Angel Pierce, is asking, we caught your last live. Love all the gardening info. I'm a small scale gardener, and so are we're small scale too. And there's nothing wrong with being small scale. You know what? You're doing what you need to do. And that's the whole thing. We want to be active, and we are active seniors, but we're not going to just sit by and allow the world to dictate how we should live and what we should do. We want to be able to think for ourselves, have resources for ourselves, and continue to grow. So this conversation is awesome. We want to do more, and we're hoping that we can totally connect with the community that's all about doing more, not less. You know, I get a lot of encouragement when I see even people older than me exercising in their 70s and 80s, and I love all of that. I commend everyone in anything you're doing, arts, whether you're singing.
Right.
But, you know, with that being said, guess what? Gardening is right up there on the top list. And I want to, it's a top priority. And I hold that in the highest regard, just like you would any other profession. I want to do this until we leave this planet, you know, and in any way, shape, or form, we're going to garden. So there's lots of ways you can adapt. There's nothing to stop you but yourself. So get out of your way and open up your mind. If we can garden in the desert, you can garden as well.
You know, I want to say I'm so full. I'm full with the anticipation and the joy that my wife and I constantly are experiencing in gardening. Growing our own food, putting your hands in the soil, problem solving with other gardeners, trying to bring what we call sustainable living, vermiculture and permaculture, which these names, by the way, are just recent fad names given, but people have been practicing permaculture and vermiculture and gardening for millennia.
Yes.
And so, you know, we hear these new terms, and sometimes for gardeners who haven't gotten started or maybe considered gardening, you know, they get a little bit anxious, you know, when these big terms come out, when all they want to do is, look, I just want to put a seed in the ground. I just want to grow some food. I want to have something I can put on my table for my kids or for myself. So we try not to get into the big tagging of big names or genus names. We simply want to speak to people on a simplistic level of taking a seed from a packet, putting it in the soil, no matter where it's at, and start growing your food. And if you have children or animals, it is growing your garden, your fruits and vegetable trees, and your vegetable and your fruit, say bushes and trees and vegetables. It's like taking care of a child.
Yeah.
You have to be present in the moment. And just like someone would tell you, it's not easy taking care of children. You're going to have all kinds of problems to solve in raising them. Same thing in gardening, you know, and you have to look at the fact that you're bringing life, see, into the world. And that life that you brought in is going to give you life in your body.
Absolutely. It's going to give you life back.
Exactly.
And I want to address from British Columbia, once again, thank you, Angel Pierce. And you were saying that, yes, growing our own food is so important. So I wanted to just expound on that just a little bit about how important it really is, because that is so, so true. And thank you for that. You know, my husband was a very sick man when I met him.
Very sick.
Our anniversary, matter of fact, is in another, week or two, 15 years. When I met him, I have to tell you the story. I met him through my daughter putting us on a site called Match.com. I was a single woman, mother of 2 divorcee, and I've been in business for over 35 years, a preschool owner, and I'm always busy. My daughter was leaving town to move, and she didn't want me to not have someone to talk to. And she says, Mom, just go in there and just have a friend or something safely. So long story short, this is the person that I chose to be my friend. And at the time when I chose him to be my friend, he was in a power chair.
Yes, I was for
He
5 years.
He was in a power chair, and his diagnosis was very
grave.
grave. And you know, I love healing. I love plants, and like I said, this has been the story of my life. I am still a returning student to the School of Natural Healing, Dr. Christopher's, and I am a herbalist. And my master's I have not done yet finished because I haven't did my herbal walk, and I'm planning on doing that this year. But the long story short is that my husband was ill. They had given him 6 months to live. And again, he was just a friend. I didn't see him for 4 months. I had never met him. I just talked online with him. And I wanted to, you know, be a friend to him. So I was. We talked all about herbs. He had never gotten into this. He was on so many medications from the VA. He's a vet. But at this time, all I could do was just talk to him on the phone and talk to him about the herbs. And he was so excited about that. So finally, after 4 months of talking, I asked him, could I visit him one day? So, you know, I'm a kind of spontaneous person and always looking, because again, I work with children. I love helping. I love being around people. And I decided that I was going to take that plunge and drive over to his place to meet him and give him some fresh juice that I had made. And he said, sure. So when I got there, I was in for the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me was that he was in the power chair and the doors open. He got up, he could walk a little. His place, his apartment smelled like death. And it scared me. It scared me so bad. I was embarrassed. So I was literally boohooing. I was in tears, and you could see that. I was like, I couldn't hold him back. I was nervous. I wanted to run.
And I took you in my arms and
yes, he
held
did.
you.
He said, you know, it's
gonna
okay.
be okay.
But I was so upset with myself, like, you idiot. You walked into this, and all of his things, his belongings were packed up with labels on them, like he was ready to, you know, to leave.
To die, right.
You know, he was living that life to depart. So I was so upset. But the long story behind this, he trusted me, and I asked him.
No, I still do trust.
Yeah, and I said, can I juice you and do these things? So I did that for a while, and then I actually asked him, could he leave everything and could I just take care of him? You know, and
that was an unusual request.
It was, you know.
I was so glad.
I'm not just spontaneous like this, just saying, I just don't take anyone. But you know, I talked to my son and I talked to my daughter, and I told them what I wanted to do. They know my heart and my mind, but at the same time, I just wanted to help someone. So with that, I did do it, and I actually got them off all of the medications within 3 months. And the doctors couldn't believe what was going on. But with all of that, and I'll tell the whole story one day, but it's so long, I won't go into it. But it was so amazing. The doctors didn't believe it, and he got off all of the medicines. He's only on 3 medications now. And he's been a believer because he's a biology major. He's a geek.
Yes.
He worked on an open transplant team in the hospitals in Ohio.
Open heart transplant team in
and
Ohio.
So,
yep.
You know, medically, whenever I say anything, I would say, let's take echinacea. And he's going to say, no, you need a Tylenol. You need this. We're like, you know, Frack and someone else. We're just clashing. I'm like, this is not going to work. How do I get someone to believe in that? But he was raised on the farm with his grandmother.
Yes.
And that was the one thing we had in common. And the same thing with my parents. My parents always gardened. So my siblings, we grew up with that here in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. So that was our common ground. And every time that something happened, fantastic, that he was off of another medication, it just got better and better. Mm-hmm. But the last testimony that I will give on this is that he has a heart aneurysm.
It's called an ascending aortic aneurysm on my heart.
Yeah. And what would happen with that, the doctors and the specialists told us that no, it would never go down, and he's going to have surgery. They want to do it before he turns 70, and we're just going to keep an eye on it. So they had him
68.
Yes. They had him going to the doctors once a year, then once every 6 months. Right?
Yes.
And so to keep check on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been what, 3 years, 5 years?
No.
How many years has it been?
The last time I got checked was a year ago, and they told me that the aneurysm was shrinking. But I was just hospitalized at the VA hospital, and they told me that the aneurysm has shrunk even some more. Now, we were riding our bikes. Past 3 months, we've been kind of on the low, but for almost 8 months, we've been riding our bikes 7 miles a day, except for we took 2 days off. So we were averaging 35 miles a week, 140 miles a month, just in cycling outside. And I love it. I mean, I lost so much weight. Our primary diet is eating vegetables, soups, and salads. We do eat some meat because my wife also has a condition called hyperactive
Reactive hypoglycemia.
Right, which she has to eat every 3 hours because her body burns through her food, and she gets very sick if she doesn't eat like she's supposed to. So yeah, we've both been on a journey of healing, and our garden has brought our healing uh, together, where we were able to have better health and better life. So that's something that my wife and I love her to death anyway, not unto death, but to life. But we are together almost all the time in business and in gardening. And we have found the fact that we've saved so much money gardening. And yes, we've had failures. We have things that stump us, and we collaborate with other gardeners on YouTube, and Joe Lampo, Growing a Greener World. Just so many people that's been great to us. Paul Gauchi and Back to Eden. He's the one that started our inspiration for Back to Eden. And then there is a few others that my wife and I collaborate with. So yeah, it's been a journey.
And Paul Gauchi is someone we truly, my husband does call him up and try to have chats with him.
And Joe Lampo.
And Joe Lampo as well. But Paul was I can't even say the word. It's
instrumental, right?
And actually changing so much for the connection of the Back to Eden garden with the wood chips. A lot of people do not believe in it. We believe in it 100%.
100%.
It does work, and you have to make modifications if you're in the desert. But those modifications are like making sure your wood chips stay moist. We're in a dry, arid place, cover them, so they can break down a lot sooner. But at the same time, it's been wonderful information. And also, he's so based and spiritually based that the things that you hear from him, you're going to get more than you ever bargained for. And you're going to realize how our Creator made everything, and to make sure that you're involved in it. The person that was on, we were still on right now. My husband's in a little chat with him. Actually, Angel is from Ohio, and that's amazing. That's where my husband is from also. So he's a transplant to the British Columbia. And, again, we're just trying to reach people. And I thank you for that, saying you're going to share our channel with other people, Angel. We're just trying to reach people and tell them that, I always see the channels of people are back south in different places, but know that this can happen right here in wherever you're located, in any city. You can start taking the approach to taking your life in your own hands. And then these days, you don't know what's going to happen right now with the food system, and then the way you see the news, how many shortages we have. It would be a good thing to do to make sure you're prepared in any way, whether you even do it indoors and you have plants indoors. Start a garden, start potting things. If you're in an apartment, start saying that I'm going to, if I'm eating out, I'm going to make at least 10% of my food that's going to be from my own yard, my own apartment balcony. Start with tomatoes, start with anything, start with a rosemary plant. They'll, the medicinal benefits, when you look them up, you're going to be so surprised and say, I could do that for myself, and save yourself from other things. But most of all, I just want to encourage us, all people, we should come together and try to have something in common.
We should.
And gardening is something that we all can do. It's the food that you consume. That's the only way you get it, even if it's from a big industrial, big box store. It's organic foods that's going to keep you going. So I encourage you all to get involved in gardening. I encourage you all to just be active as much as possible. Be present. Take control of your life. Don't let everyone tell you that you have to take a pill for everything, because it's not true.
It's not
We're
true.
living proof of that. And every day we get better and better.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
This is so much in being blessed to be able to go out and know that even though we're not entirely free, and we're not off the grid because we're in a HOA community, and they only have their extent of being able to tell you what to do goes too far as your house, or if you're erecting another say a premises in the back of your yard. Other than that, they cannot come in the back of your yard. So we take this advantage of growing our own food in an HOA, and our growing area is almost about 3,500 square feet in the back period. So we've got a lot of plans, and we're constantly finding, even in our urban homestead, there's so much to do, and every day I'm faced with, how many projects can I do today?
Yeah.
2, 3, maybe 4. Sometimes I have a bad habit. I don't know when to stop. Even working in pain, as we do sometimes, I find more joy looking at the birds and looking at the bees, and just seeing how the habitats that we've established for butterflies and all kind of insects to be beneficial towards our garden and not trying to, and we don't use chemicals in our garden at all.
No.
We do use the JLF. So and any other organic compound that we can use, I try to use that. But it's great being a gardener.
It is, definitely.
I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. I wouldn't.
No, neither would I.
Mm-mm.
So we're going to come to an end with our chat of growing conversations, but we will be back, and we appreciate you.
When do you want to do the next one?
Well, we want to do the next one as soon as possible, so we would probably say what you can name the date.
This is a weekend. Christmas is coming. How about we do one on? You want to do one on Saturday?
Saturday sounds good for me.
What, 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock. It's a date.
All right, people. Look, we're gonna be back here this Saturday, the 24th of December, at 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock.
So if you can be able to tell your friends, look, there's a live broadcast coming up at 1 o'clock on Saturday. We're going to be here. We're going to meet you right here.
Right
See?
here.
And hopefully we'll be in the hoop house so that you can see what we've been doing and trying to accomplish, growing a garden in the winter,
Yeah, it's never too late to start.
Mm-hmm.
Never too late to start. And any time of the year is a good time because there's something always to do in the garden.
Always.
There's something always to do. And all you're doing is preparing yourself for the future.
Exactly. All right. Well, I hate to say goodbye because I'm excited.
We're gonna say goodbye.
I'm excited.
I'm Lolanda, and this is Gary.
And I'm Gary.
And we're gonna say goodbye.
And we're going to say goodbye. We'll see you on Saturday.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.